Well, after being knocked out of the FA Cup earlier in the season, it was back to Northern League football for Penrith, and they travelled across to Blythe Town, who were second in the league and had already won handsomely at Frenchfield earlier in the season. And it was another defeat for Penrith, I'm afraid. They finished 4-0 to Blythe. Jim Nichols, the manager, joins me. Jim, was it as bad as that sounds?
We started really poorly, John. We were 2-0 down inside 5 minutes, and you're not going to win many games of football at any level if you do that. Two really poor goals from our point of view, and then actually I thought probably for the next 70 minutes we were the better side. We created lots of chances. They limit them to very, very little. I thought if we'd scored them, we should have done with a couple of the chances that we had. We probably could have put them under quite a lot of pressure. They were not very happy with their own performance. I watched their manager's interview back and spoke to him after the game. They're really not happy with the way it went. But football's decided by who scores goals and when you score them, isn't it? And unfortunately, we didn't take our chances, and they did. And to rub salt in the wounds, they got two in the last 10 minutes. They just finished the game. So, it looks a bad score, doesn't it? But I don't think it's representative of the game at all. But the reality is, in those moments where we needed those bits of quality, we couldn't find them, and they could. And that's probably why they're shelling out thousands of pounds a week, and we're not. But that's where we are, They're expecting to be in with a shout of going back up, and they've invested heavily in the playing squad, and they've got a very experienced squad with a lot of quality, a lot of lads there who've won promotion out of our league before Nick Road.
2-0 down in 5 minutes. What were the goals? Were there bad ones from your part? They're all bad.
Yeah, the first was after about 20 seconds. So, we were makers of our own downfall, really. The pitch really wasn't good to play on. It was probably the first green pitch we saw, but it looked more like a field than a football field. Then we played it back from kick-off. It was an under-hit pass, so then the next one's under-hit. And he's come back to our goalkeeper, and the ball's bobbling. He hasn't got a good contact. Cleared in, he's come back forwards, and the lad's just cut in and put it in the far corner. And the second one, we looked in decent shape. We looked like we'd settled after the first goal. Keeper's punted forward. Lad stood about 3 yards offside, just ran back onside and flicked it on. And someone just ran off him and scored. So really disappointing goals from our point of view. We had a couple of offside decisions that were absolutely appalling in the game. That being one of them, and one in the second half where Lewis Jollies ran from behind everybody and ran past their back four who left it because Matty Williamson was 5 yards offside. And the linesman decided it was Lewis who was off, and there was no chance. And it really didn't help. The rub of the green didn't go with us on big decisions either during the game. And yeah, it's just a really frustrating day because, as I say, I don't think our performance deserved what we got. But as I say, that's where we are.
The two goals they got, were they late on after?
Yeah, sort of last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes, we sort of threw the kitchen sink at him, to be honest. We had a couple of chances, balls into the box. Jordan Palmer had a 1v1. It just didn't quite fall for us. And then, obviously, the more bodies you commit, the more open you are, aren't they? And they got a third one to finish it off. And then the fourth one was just a hit from the edge of the area. They were on the counter-attack there. We did the damage to ourselves in the first 5 minutes, John, and never really fully recovered.
How did you shape up? You usually making 4 or 5 changes. How did you look
same again, John. Same again, really. And he was so disappointing after the positives of Tuesday, where I thought we were excellent, to look at the team again, and we've made another 5 changes. He really isn't helping us at the moment. But we've just got to get through this spell. We've had a real tough start. When you look at the games that we've played second in the league twice. We've played third in the league twice. We're going to Bishop Auckland next Saturday. We're top of the league. So you would hope at some point we've got to have some games against teams that aren't going in for promotion, and that's where we've got to look to pick some points up. The table doesn't look horrendous considering the starts we've had. I would say, looking at it, we've probably had the toughest start of everyone, and that will probably continue for the next couple of weeks with the games we've got coming up. And I just said to the lads, we've just got to make sure we stay where we are in the table, which is about 14th, 15th, I think we are. And then once we get some games where you're playing teams in the round, you've got to make sure we pick points up in those.
Have you nothing? Are you finished midweek now? Or are you Saturday?
No, we're off to North Shields on Wednesday. We seem to have had a hell of a lot of midweeks. I think by the time we finish August, I think we'll have played 9 league games. So we'll have played a quarter of the season in 1 month, which seems crazy.
But then Billy Barr was saying the same thing to me this morning as well. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, particularly when you're asking lads who you're asking lads who are working and everything else, to be then travelling halfway around the country on nights, etc. It does feel a bit over the top, And I spoke to Billy the other week, and I speak to all the managers we play against, and down at Carlisle City. Everyone's struggling with injuries, everyone's struggling with knocks, but it's no surprise, You're asking lads, as I say, who are working full time. You're asking them to play 2-3 games a week. It's absolutely crazy for 5-6 weeks at a time. But it's the same every year. Nobody seems to listen to it. I mean, we should have had 2-3 weekends out the last 3, which would have been perfect for us. Instead, we've ended up with massive long trips arranged at very short notice, which has been nigh on impossible to get a bus. We've got players who know they've had a free weekend who've then had it filled, so then aren't available. I think it detracts from the competition a little bit as well, because you end up not having the strongest sides playing each other. But we go through it every year. Yeah, it just seems crazy. And then we'll get to March time and we'll probably have a couple of free weekends off in March.
That's right. Yep,
but lads would rather be playing on a Saturday than a midweek away to North Shields, as I say, this week. We've obviously been to Yarm already. I can't think where else we've been midweek, but we've had some stinkers. And I'm sure that applies to everyone else. You seem to end up with the longest journeys as well midweek. So it doesn't seem particularly well organised, but it's the hand everybody's dealt, so we've just got to get on with it.
And what about Wednesday? Do you know how you're going to be for Wednesday?
Well, we'll see how we are again. It's a long trip to North Shields, isn't it, from Penrith? So we'll see what we've got. I'm sure we've definitely got a couple back who missed yesterday, but I'm fairly confident we've got a couple away as well. So yeah, we'll see how we're looking. I haven't asked the lads yet, just see how we are injury wise, etc. And then we can pick a side. Hopefully, go and get something from North Shields.
Jim, thank you very much indeed, and all the very best for Wednesday.
Cheers, John.